Hi, I'm Tricia Morris from Club Scrap, and welcome back to the show. Do you consider yourself creative? Well, I know for a fact that many of you are, but if you've been saying to yourself, help, I'm not creative at all, I've got a lot of tips and techniques and methods that I'm going to share with you today that will help you take your pages right to the finish line. Help has arrived. In the past, we've talked a lot about assembly line scrapbooking, which is a technique that we use to scrapbook our pages without the photos. And then I've also shared with you about Club Scrap, projects from Club Stamp, but I've never really told you about Club Scrap Junior. And that's basically a monthly club where you receive pre-cut photo mats, a wood-mounted rubber stamp, as well as a newsletter and some idea recipe cards. But what's neat about this all-inclusive kit here is that along with this, we actually help you take all of this material and turn it into scrapbook pages, assembly line style. So along with the kit, you can actually download a set of instructions. On the first page of the download, you can actually see all of the ingredients that you need to complete the pages, and then on the next page, you'll find an image of your first 2 pages that you'll make, an ingredient list, and then detailed cutting instructions plus a visual of how you'll be cutting each paper for every single page. And that document continues to go, taking you all the way through to create 8 completed scrapbook pages. Well, what I want to do is walk you through that process all the way to the point where your pages are completely done, photos, embellishments, journaling, and everything. Now here I have the ingredients that I need for this first layout, and that includes a 12 by 12 lavender plain, a 12 by 12 lemongrass plain, and this gorgeous pearl text print. And then we've got some photo mats. Now I followed the cutting instructions perfectly, and you'll learn a lot just by following those instructions on how you can use your paper efficiently and economically. I've already done that cutting because we know how to cut paper for the most part, and so then you just simply follow the diagram to assemble the elements on your page. And we've kind of learned a lot about where to place things so that they look their best. And so if you're new to scrapbooking, this will really help you figure out where things should be placed. Eventually, you'll pick this up completely on your own. All right, at this point, once you attach everything to your page, you can do that with permanent or repositionable adhesive. You're basically done with this part of the process. And what I like about this is the flexibility you still have with when you finish your page. You might decide, I have horizontal photos. I'd rather have my page positioned like this. Or you might want to rotate it one more time and do it like that, and so on. So you can actually have a lot of freedom still, even though your photo mats are already in place. Because keep in mind, if you're just starting out, these photos are placed well, and your pages are going to look great. Then you'll follow along with the instructions to complete layout 3 and 4. Those of you who've been watching those page planner episodes will find out that this is one of the formulas we've already talked about, and we introduced you to new formulas as well. So this is a wonderful way to hone your scrapbooking skills. Here's layout 7 and 8, and you're done. Well, not quite done, because you just have a bunch of pages with no photos. What do you do next? You gotta get your photos. So I store my pictures in these little accordion files. This makes it really handy to organize them when they come back from the developer. And I also date and label them all. And basically I sit down with the finished layouts without photos, and I just pick some out, and I start finding things that work with the color scheme of the papers. And then once you do that, you just trim the photos accordingly. So for example, on this page, I've got 4 3 by 3 inch squares that I need to fill. So just trim my photos to 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Now this is really starting to take some shape, but it's still missing a few things like a title, some journaling, and some embellishments. I'm working with a wood-mounted stamp that came right in the kit, so it's all themed, it's all coordinated. And then I'm going to take some ink spots from PrintWorks. These are dye-based raised felt ink pads, and they really work great because there's so much ink on the pad. This is a beautiful sunflower yellow color, starting with the lightest color first. I'm going to be layering these inks so it has a lot of color on the stamp. This is an oak brown. I'm just going to ink a portion of the stamp with that color, and these match the colors in the kit. This is Wisteria, another really pretty purplish color, and I've just got some areas of the stamp inked now. The entire stamp has quite a bit of ink on it, and I'm just going to add some water. We'll make some watercolor. Give it a couple of spritz, and now you can see the glistening water on the stamp. And I'll take a sheet of the lemongrass paper, and because this paper is so highly textured, I'm going to be working on the smooth side. Then I'll stamp the image, And I've got a beautiful watercolor stamp. Now, I still have plenty of ink on here. I'm going to get a second generation out of this without even having to re-ink. I'll spritz again, and I'll get a second image on my paper right next door. Should we go for a third? Why not? That's really faded out, but I think it's going to be fine. We'll be able to use these on our pages. In fact, I've already trimmed a piece of this out to continue to make our embellishment. So earlier I mentioned to you those idea recipe cards. A lot of people ask me, what do I do with those? Well, you get a font, you get a whole bunch of images that are representative from the kit, and then you also get some page recipes. So these are some great idea starters for you, but you can also scan them and use them on your pages, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So here I have the borders and backgrounds. I've scanned them and printed it out on this transfer film from Grafix. This is such fun stuff. Now, on one side is shiny, the other side is cloudy. Print on the cloudy side, and you know your printer, so make sure you load it correctly. So I've scanned this. I've actually made it a little bit smaller. I've reversed it, because if you have text and you print it out normally, it'll end up being reverse, and then you won't be able to read it, and that won't be any good. So print it out in reverse. I've also printed it at high quality. And then on the printer settings, I chose glossy paper. And then once you print it out, let it dry a little bit if needed. And then you need to turn it into a rub-on. We have to have some adhesive. This is a sheet of adhesive. You just remove the blue liner and then lay the adhesive on top of the cloudy side of your transfer film. Now, if you need to grab a friend to help you with this, you can. Otherwise, work very carefully in just getting the air bubbles out of the adhesive and work slowly in small areas. Once you've done that, let me show you how cool the sheet of rub-ons will turn out to be. And here we are, the idea recipe card in miniature, and it's a whole bunch of embellishments for all my pages to come. Okay, so now all these images are here, and what you want to do is let the adhesive sit for about 15 minutes before you start to use them, and then you can choose the image that you want to use. In this case, I'm selecting this little swirl right over here. Now, when you cut the image out of the transfer sheet, you want to make sure you stay as close as possible to the printed image. You don't want to have a big halo around this, so just stay nice and close without cutting into the image. So here's the rub-on that I'm going to apply. What I need to do is remove this shiny backing on the back side. To release it, you might want to just put a little bend in the paper, and then you'll see that kind of separate, and it will reveal a sticky surface beneath. All right, so I'm going to peel that away, and now it's really sticky. Try not to touch it. I'm just going to place it right on, oh, that looks so cool. All right, next thing you need to do is burnish it a little bit to the paper. I'm going to use a bone folder. You can use a popsicle stick that comes with the transfer film. You can use the side of a coin, virtually anything. Just you want to make sure that rub-on bonds to the surface of the paper. The next thing you're going to do is take, I use a craft knife, it seems to work the best, and you need to find the spot between this cloudy liner and the actual rub-on. And when you finally are able to separate that cloudy liner from the rub-on beneath, you're going to have a really great page embellishment. Now what I like to do here is add a little bit of a paperless border, once again with that same ink pad in the matching color. This is the oak brown. And I've got a really nice element that I can add to my page. Well, naturally, you'll continue on with this. You'll add your alphabet stickers to create a title, some cutouts to help enhance things, add some journaling, and then when you're finished, you're going to have a beautiful layout. Let me just show you another interpretation of the same exact page configuration, completely different topic, okay? Of course, it's my family again, but you can see how I've interpreted it here. Now, bringing him to the finish line, that was layout 1 and 2. What about 3 and 4? Love this page. I made my title out of the rub-ons and just put them right onto the side of the page here. And then moving over to this side, I actually used the rub-ons for my captions directly on top of the photo. That's kind of a cool technique. The stamped image is right there again, so you can see how everything coordinates and falls right into place. All right, right here we've got from the sheet, again, we have another image that you can attach as a rub-ons, the stickers, it's all falling into place. And then finally, layout 7 and 8 arrives, complete, done. We've got a wonderful little rub-on right here directly on top of the photo, the perfect caption for that picture. All right, well, I gotta tell you, I've been teaching this method in classrooms all around the country, and the response has been nothing short of overwhelming. It's been very empowering for people to finally find a way to learn how to be creative, to learn where to put what, how, and why. And now, instead of being a collector of scrapbooking supplies, you can actually start using them. So I'll see you at the finish line.
For step-by-step instructions on how to create this week's project, Download the design guide featuring special make-it-your-own bonus tips.